I believe I have found the secret one CRT that I've been looking for. Now, if you look at this TV, you wouldn't think that it had anything spectacular. It only supports composite video, mono audio, and it has an RF input for coax if you want to jump on your old Atari for some reason. But what we can do with this TV is really turn it into something special. So thank you again for joining me today. I'm Steve, the CRT fanatic, here in the CRT bunker. And today I have a Toshiba, a very plain 20-inch Toshiba set with a bubble tube, very few features, very few inputs, and really just not much special to it, except it has one ability that not every CRT has, and that's the ability to be modified to add an amazing high-resolution video input. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to first look at this TV, break it down. I'm going to show you the inside of the TV. We'll look at that, we'll restore it, and then we're going to go into a modification process that I believe just about anybody can aspire to do. Now, I'm not saying you're ready to go and just get a soldering iron and install this MUX kit and do this modification in these restoration services on your own right now, but this is definitely that perfect TV to grab if you have the goal of someday servicing your own TV and maybe modifying it to make it awesome. This is like the perfect one, right? Everybody has a goal in life. If yours is to modify a CRT, wait till you see this Toshiba I have right over here in the shop. All right, hello again. You can see my lovely reflection in this bubble tube. Today we have a Toshiba set. This is a standard Toshiba CRT television. I have the remote control here, and let's take a look at the model number first. This is from January of 2003, so I thought it would be older than this just from the look at the front. 20 inches, it's the A22 model. Chassis is the M3L718, and it is an NTSC or North American television. We have a lot of empty space here and just an antenna input on the back, so we can only do RF. And then if we look around front, we do have a composite video input, just a mono speaker on this TV. So pretty much a no-nonsense, basic CRT 20-inch from the end of the CRT era, pretty much. I mean, right after this, they started jumping up and trying to make flat screens and plasmas and all that lovely stuff from that time period, LCDs. So, one of the last true opportunities for someone to get a decent home television for cheap was probably something like this Toshiba. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, there we go. Got some lovely composite video on the screen. Don't really see any issues. It's got that shadow mask look. Of course, it's not super sharp. Got some bleeding and stuff, but it's probably pretty standard for composite video on this one. Not a bad looking TV. Ooh, let's get that flash out of the way. White balance is not so good. Dun, dun. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn the volume down on this TV. I'm going to let it run for a minute, make sure nothing else is wrong with it. And after that, we're going to open it up and we're going to service it. We're going to restore the CRT, and while I'm letting it warm up, I'm going to check out and see if there's anything we can do to this TV. We may be able to do some modifications to it and actually upgrade it. And if that's the case, then we can really have a nice TV here if we can unlock some more high resolution modes. All right, well, it's summertime, so the neighbors are cutting their grass. So if you hear a lawnmower in the background, that's what you're hearing. Now this is a super basic Toshiba. Check it out. That's right, the Orion tube is in here. Many of you who have seen the AF series have seen plenty of Orion tubes. And when I say AF series, I'm referring to Toshiba's AF series CRTs, which I've done RGB mods, restorations, deep dive reviews. I'll attach a video here, and then I'll pin a couple extras in the description of this video if you want to check out more on the AF series from Toshiba. But this one, look at it. Very tiny neck board right here. Basic as all get out. Look at this. We got our transistors for each color, a big resistor for each color, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we've got our convergence rings here, very simple deflection yoke, and these are ground cables. This is where our information is coming through to this neck board, or this CRT socket board, whatever you want to call it. I don't really get too particular about that. And even if you look down here in the main board, look at this super basic design. We have like an entire section right here with absolutely no parts populated in it, and that's because this is for the stereo audio. So mono audio skips that whole shebang area. You can also see where we've got unpopulated things on this board for other video inputs that could have been installed on probably better models. Looks like this is stuck in here somehow, so there must be a release point. I'll try to figure that out, and I'll get this board out, and I guarantee you there's going to be a huge boom pop on this anode cap right here, because there's no way they would go to all the lengths of making such a cheap PCB at this time and add a bleeder resistor. Okay, I'm looking around in here and I think I found it. There's like this little contraption right there. Do you see that? I think that's what I have to move out of the way. I have to pop that piece up, and then I can slide this board out from the back of the shell. That little arm right there is holding it in place. Alright, everything else is popped out of here. The only thing that stays is the yoke, which is disconnected from the board. I've disconnected that socket board, and it had a ground connection right here. So now I've connected my alligator clip on to my ground strap there, and we're going to discharge this tube because, like I said, there's no way it doesn't have, or it has a bleeder resistor. So that's all good. Make sure these other cables are out of the way. Probably will only get to give you a little bit of a hearing thing here, because I don't know that. Well, let's see if I can pop this off safely. Sometimes you can get this off without shocking yourself, but also sometimes you can't. So I think I'll just go for it this way, because I don't want to get zapped today. So, oh yeah, there's a big boy. That's going to be a big old zap if I can get that thing up. Let's see. Yeah, maybe that'll show you. Oh, I don't know if that got it. There you go, another little zap. And we got it off. So maybe I caught the zap there. Right, we've got the CRT disassembled, and this board has been serviced now. I did do all the good stuff by changing the capacitors that were in deflection and power zones, etc. But I wanted to show off one more thing here. Check that out. So this is a part of this board normally, and just bring this up to show you how economically conscious and how much they had streamlined the designs on these boards, because this would have all been one big board that would have been pieced together, and then the components would have been put on there, and it all would have been soldered like this, and then it would have been snapped off there, and then just really easily slid into this TV, and that's probably the only real thing that humans did anymore was that, and then do a quality control check. There's not a whole lot of components up here, right? If I like look at everything, we have the RF tuner for our RF video, or coax video, and those signals back here are our voltage deflection, high voltage stuff. We've got some power in, our main power comes in here, and then all this is power filtering and conversion down to DC voltage from the AC mains. And then we of course have the flyback. But a lot of this board is unpopulated on this particular model, and that's probably, like I said, just because it's a super basic model of this TV. But it does have what we need over in the chroma area of the board to actually inject RGB, and that's on the other side, and we'll get started on that in a second. But you can tell here, even the comb filter is completely empty of components because there really is no comb filter. Again, stereo audio, nothing. We really don't have anything in this section either. And so very basic components and stuff on here, but we're going to make it really sweet here by adding RGB and SCART. Alright, I've consulted with the Sector Sunflower website, and I've had to refer to quite a few different chassis and guides on there, and I finally found this one, and it's for the 20A22, and that pinout right there on the screen you see actually matches what is down here on my model and my chassis. Now I've gone ahead and marked the parts that I'm going to be removing right here, and right here with just a black Sharpie marker. So I'll heat up my iron and I'll remove these 3 resistors, and then I'm going to tin this point right here, and this point right here, and this point right here. That's where I'll inject my 3 colors, and then I think right here is where I'm going to inject the blanking signal, and then we'll catch a ground somewhere in here. That's probably something like right here. Okay, let's zoom in here. I'll show you that completed part. So the resistors on here that were removed are down here. So this one needed to be removed, and then there's 2 more, one here and one here, and then I tinned this spot for blue, this spot for green, this spot again for red. Blanking is going to go up here, so I'm going to install those conductors, and then what I'll also do is I'll come down here just a little bit below that, and then I can insert the sync down here in a ground, and then the audio in a ground over here. And then the only thing left is I'll figure out again somewhere to ground up in here near the color points, and that should be pretty easy to find. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Alright, after a little fun with the soldering iron, I was able to get this mod installed, at least the conductors. Show you what I've done. This is a ground, this orange cable. This is our blue. This up here is our blanking. Green right there, and then red right there, and over here we have audio. So normally you would put gray and white would have their own audio each, but this is a mono audio television, so the SCART will feed the audio signal in here, and it will come out the mono speaker, so you'll get stereo audio support through the mono audio on this mod. Then this is a ground, and then this right here is our composite video sync, since this is a composite only television. And that's really it. The conductors will be stuck right here with a little bit of glue or double-sided tape, fed through this opening here and onto the back side of the TV. So let's install it now and test it out. Alright, we've arrived at the moment to test this. Now you can see what I was designing over here, where I wanted that to come through here and end up over here, so I'll be able to mount it somewhere in this area. SCART's plugged in thanks to Edwards SCART cable for Super Nintendo. If you want to get one from Edward, that's how you do it. So the SCART cable's plugged in. Now the TV should turn on and not be in RGB mode, or it should be just in the input 1 mode. I've not tested this yet, so hopefully we did not do anything wrong. Coming on. Extremely bright. Let's see. Okay. There we go. I don't know what happens, like the G2 voltage seems to drift every time I take this out and go way up. Let's see what happens when we flick on this. Hey, hey, hey. Looky there. We have RGB. Let's put it on Super Metroid. Turn off the flash. See if we have any volume. Yes, we do. Here we go. This is the big part. What does it look like? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. We got the OSD on there. It is RGB. There are no fakes. This is not a trick. Here's our composite video input. And the other thing this TV has, as I showed you earlier, only is RF. So now we've added glorious RGB with a SCART MUX kit. Awesome. All right, let's take a moment to talk about an RGB MUX mod like this. What's actually happening and how do you actually get the information or the guide for this? This particular CRT, first off, is on the moddable list on this website right here, which is sectorsunthar.com. So you can just go to Sector Sunthar, Google internet search for Sector Sunthar. I'll also include a link in the description of the video. You can go to this website and it will give you lists of documented RGB moddable CRTs, and then certain CRTs that are not RGB moddable, whether it be because they have hot chassis or if because they have a single digital OSD MUX chip, or OSD chip, sorry, that will not be MUXable. And this also gives you a lot of the ideas behind the theory of RGB MUXing and what's really happening. To make a little bit of a complicated topic shortened and condensed here for this talk, what it does is there's an OSD on these televisions that when you press a button, it triggers the OSD to pop up. Well, we're going to try to use that OSD, which actually broadcasts over whatever image is on the put into the TV. It's going to supersede that image, and it comes through in raw RGB. The OSD does. So the idea here is to hijack that OSD activity. We got to hijack that activity, and then we will move in and inject our own RGB and kind of, you know, take over that lane, put in what we want to, and we'll sync up our image using the composite video sync and the video input that is the composite video input. So when we put in our signals and we put a video signal in, we're going to see the RGB signal anytime it's activated. We just have to activate the sync by putting it on video 1 because it's using the composite video sync to sync the image for the signal. All right, so we're going to go through this particular MUX mod for this TV in a little bit more detail. I know that we have a different model of CRT, but actually this is our chassis. It's under the guide for the Toshiba A22. So sometimes you'll have to go through and look at similar TVs to the one that you actually have so you can find the right chassis. And so here's the schematics. This gives you a really nice guide, which I've shown you exactly what to do, exactly which parts in here need to be removed, and where you're inserting all your points. It's even laid out on this guide real nicely right here. Now, if you go down here, this is the board. This is the custom Sector Sunthar's boards. You can buy this board kit from him. I happen to go on and make a large order of just the bare boards, which are available on Park too. And so you can do it either way. And this gives you the guide for every part that goes into this MUX build out. So you saw my RGB SCART input and how it was built out. This is another look at that and how it's built out. Thankfully, again, all these details are put right here. We've got R1, 2, and 3 listed, and then 3 or 4, 5, and 6, and you just need to put in a 75 ohm terminator, a 680, I'm sorry, not terminator, a resistor, 75 ohm resistor, a 680 ohm resistor in those 3 points. There's a 1000 ohm audio resistor for each audio lines. And then you do need to get this 1N4148 diode for R9, which is going to just allow the blanking signal to only go one way, so it can't go backwards and damage anything. Open circuit for R10. We're using an internal grounding resistor on the CRT for that. And that is really all you need. There is an R11 resistor for their diode also here. That is a 4.7K ohm resistor. So just follow this build out, okay? So you can put those in, install them like that. Now I will tell you to make sure you install the diode the correct direction. Every other component on here does not matter which direction you show or you stick it in there, but the diode does matter. And also make sure that you match up. Here, this person actually decided to go on the other side with the components. I like to put the components where they are listed. So you can see you've got this blocked out area to put the SCART in. And the same thing, the resistors should all probably be on this side too. And then up top, you've got a blank area here. But if we look over at the other side, under that would be a white square where it's basically like, hey, put this 10-pin connection point right here on this. So that's what you need to do. That's how you build that kit. And then once you've got that just little kit together, you could plug it in the television or your conductors that you've installed back here like you saw me do. And that's how you inject that RGB, and then you put it on video 1 and it just works. So that's how the MUX board works. That's how the MUX mod works. That's how you install it. And that's pretty much all the details you probably need to know on this particular TV for the MUX mod. All right, so now we know the TV is working and everything. And the last thing I've done off camera is installed this SCART mount switch right here in this orientation. And let me show you what it looks like on the other side. So I just took my time and cut this with I did a rough cutout with a Dremel, and then I shaped everything with some nice sharpening tools, or like nail files, some big nail files. And I cleaned up the edges of the cut and installed it there. So we should be good. All we should have to do is just connect this and the back there, and we should be good to go right there. So let me do that. I'll close it back up and we'll run some more tests and look at the screen one last time. And it works great. I mean, things look nice. I'm letting it run here for a little while. Just gonna leave it going now. I want you to see This is a good one to show you this. We have a pretty good horizontal shift here where things have shifted over this way because of the composite sync lineup with the RGB image. I'm going to attempt to see if there's a service menu that I can get into and make an adjustment horizontally. Maybe center this a little bit better. Push this to the right, hopefully. Otherwise, if I cannot, then we'll be stuck using an external device like this, which literally just lets you put SCART in, send SCART out, and do horizontal and vertical positioning outside of your CRT. So there's always a way to do that. If I can't find the service menu, I'll do that and show it to you. But otherwise, I'm going to try that first. Let's see if I can get into the service menu. All right, well, I managed to make it into this service menu. It's pretty easy to get into. You do have to have a remote control. You just turn the TV on and then you hold down the volume down remote or volume down on the front of the set. And then you simultaneously press the 9, hold it for about a second, and it just pops into this menu. And then you can press up and down. What I'm looking for here is horizontal phase or horizontal center. And hopefully we can adjust it pretty easy. Oh yeah, there we go. So we'll just press volume up and volume down to adjust it. And check it out. We can center that image up perfectly. Look at that. Awesome. So that's nice. And we even have some other things we could do, but it's not a lot. Actually, that's about it for... There's not a whole lot of... I think I can maybe make the vertical size a little bit more. Maybe one down like that. That looks pretty darn good, though, for a TV. Let's see. There we go. I think I just pressed enter. No, wait. Menu. Okay. Now I'm out of it, and it's hopefully saved those settings. Let's see. I'll turn it off and turn it back on and see if it's... Yep, it's centered. It's not shifted. Look at that. Perfectly centered. That's much better. Yes. Okay, good stuff. Let's see how the color on this thing looks. I do have the brightness turned down a little bit. But wow, look, that's really balanced. If I turn the brightness back up, you'll see these colors just come more out all the way. But it's just got a good white balance now. And everything's looking great on it. Well, see, I told you this was a great TV. You just have to put a little bit of effort into it. And you can turn this into almost a arcade quality display. I mean, adding that RGB really does sharpen up the image, excuse me. And you don't get any like bleeding over nearly as bad as when I had the composite image at the beginning. Just composite is really a lot rougher of an image. But again, just by adding a little bit of hardware, not too much, we can get RGB into this and turn it into something extremely special. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please, please, please leave a like on this video. And also, if you want to subscribe to this channel, this is what we do. We hang out. We work on CRTs, old tech. It's awesome. We love it. I love it. And I work on it for you, for people like you watching this video right now. I will tell you that the person who owned the Toshiba in this very video, his name is Justin. And he is a longtime Patreon supporter of this channel, of Retro Tech and this business. If you would like to get a CRT serviced or upgraded or modified or anything like that, or you just want to talk more about CRTs, have questions about stuff, feel free to check out my Patreon. There will be a link in the description of this video. Just go there and check it out. That's how people get their work serviced by me. I only work for Patreon members now. So I appreciate every Patreon member who's on there, who signs up and contributes and helps out this amazing venture to keep on going. And I thank you especially again for hanging out all the way to this end of this video. If you hung out to the end of this video, why don't you drop me an SMW for Super Mario World? That's what we saw today, was Super Mario World on that RGB screen. So drop me an SMW in the comments, or if you have any questions about this mod, drop them down there below. I love to know what you think. What do you want to see in the next video? What do you want to see covered. I haven't gone over a PVM or professional video monitor in a while. I've really been sticking it out with these consumer sets, getting them set up and adjusted and restored and then modified if possible. I've been enjoying that, but I want to make sure you guys are getting the content that you also love. So if you have any ideas, throw it down there in the comments after you put in SMW. See you all next time with some more retro content.